Her voice was nice. I heard her say, "It's a boy who's hungry, Daddy. May I give him something?" A tall man came to the door and looked at me. "Yes, Betsy, by all means. Give him some of our roast," he said, and then he walked away. In a few minutes she came back to the door with a little cardboard box containing food that smelled wonderful. I wanted to look into her eyes and thank her, but I couldn't. I took the box and just stood there for a few seconds, hurting, because I was forced to beg, to stand before her deprived of confidence. The girl spoke to me then in a very low voice. She said, "I hope things will be better for you soon. I feel so ashamed that I have food when the times force boys like you to go hungry." I'll never know her name, and I'll never know if she was really as pretty as that first glance told me she was. I know only one thing about her, and that was the fact that she fed my hungry stomach and laid a kind of healing balm on a part of my spirit that was raw with the beating it was taking. There were many times when I was ready to give up during the cold weeks of November, times when I really believed that Joey and I would have to wander out into some open field and let the cold finish us off. But always, at such times, something turned up, something happened which seemed to say, "Not yet, not yet," and we would find food and rest and the spirit to go on. It was like that the night we stopped at a tiny farmhouse somewhere in Nebraska, and a very old lady asked us to come inside. She gave us supper at a little table in the kitchen where a good fire burned and a kettle poured out steam from its copper spout. She watched us thoughtfully while we ate. "Do you smoke?" she asked me after a while. If there had been any laughter in me, I would have considered that a joke. "Ma'am, if I had the money to buy cigarettes, I'd have bought something for us to eat instead of asking you," I said. She nodded. "All right, then. You boys can stay the night here. I had to ask about smoking because I'm fearful of fire. But you can stay." She paused a minute. "I think you'll have to take a bath, though, and after you're in bed I'll wash your clothes." A bath? I wonder if she knew what that meant to us. Joey and I washed with soap and hot water for the first time since we had left home. Our bodies were clean and refreshed and respectable in the suits of long underwear which the woman had told us had once belonged to her husband. We lay in a soft bed that night under a feather comforter. We moaned a little before we slept, half in weariness, half in the wonder of being comfortable, and we refused to think of another day. The lady let us sleep until almost noon the next day. Then she came in softly and laid our clothes, freshly washed and ironed, on the foot of the bed. She stood there looking down at us. "Poor little fellows, you were dead tired, weren't you?" she said. She raised the shades at the window and then walked to the door. "Better get up and into your clean clothes now. I've got a good breakfast for you. Maybe the sleep and food will give you strength to get to wherever you're going." She had wonderful food for us, hot cereal and toast and cocoa. When I had eaten, I didn't believe how well I felt, how strong a surge of confidence built up inside me. The woman wanted to know any number of things about us. "Do you have any parents?" she asked me. She was kind and good. I didn't want to be rude, but I began to feel wary and uneasy. I was silent for so long that she repeated her question. "I suppose so," I answered. Then, ashamed, I said, "Yes, yes, we have." "Do they know where you are?" "I don't think so, ma'am." "You ran away, didn't you?" "No, ma'am. They knew we were leaving. At least my mother knew that I was leaving. Joey decided to come with me at the last minute." "Were you in trouble?" "Yes, ma'am. Too big an appetite." She shook her head and drew a deep breath. "They must be suffering these days," she said after a long pause. I didn't answer. The woman sat looking at us, frowning a little. After a while she went to a table, and from the drawer beneath it she took out paper and envelopes and stamps. Then she beckoned me to come to the table. "Now, write something to Mama," she said, putting a hand on my shoulder. "I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't," I told her. "You can write, can't you? You know how to read and write, don't you?" Her question made me mad. I had been an honor student in high school. "Yes," I answered, "I know how to read and write, but I can't. At least I just won't." "You have a hard nature, little man," she said quietly. "I suppose you're right. I hate to be mean after what you've done for us. I don't want to be mean, but I don't think you can understand. There's just nothing I can say to my folks. Nothing. If Joey wants to write, he can." She turned to my brother. "How about it, Joey?" "Yes," he said. "I'll write a note to them, but I can't say I'm coming home. Josh and I are going to stick it together." "Well, then that's the way it is. Anyway, your mama is going to sleep better knowing that you're still alive." Joey showed me what he had written. He told our parents that we were in Nebraska, that we were well and getting along just fine. They were not to worry, and he would try to send them a line once in a while. That was all. His letter really told them nothing of what we were living through. Still, as the old woman said, it at least let them know that we were still alive. She gave Joey some stamped envelopes and made him promise that he'd write whenever he could. We left that little house regretfully in the early afternoon. We had found cleanliness and rest as well as nourishing food in amounts that satisfied our huge appetites. We wished that we could stay with her, but we knew the rules. 1 night, 1 meal. 2 meals at the most. After that, we must move on. It was understandable. There was no reason why any charity or any person should look after us. We were on our own, and for people on their own, it was a one-night stand, unless by some chance they had some money in their pockets. We seemed to be in a cycle of good luck, for we had gone no more than 3 or 4 miles down the highway when a truck passed us, its big tires humming along the concrete. The driver threw up his hands as he passed us, and we gave him the hitchhiker's gesture without really hoping that he might stop. Then we saw the speed slacken and the big truck edge over on the shoulder of the road. We ran toward it, hardly believing our good luck.